Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a great intro. I'm honored to be here. Obviously playing in the sports world and then wanting to actually leave a legacy that means something. There's not many people who've done it better than Dr. Tommie Smith. So to be able to, be on this stage and be able to communicate with a legend who's was all about the greater good of all people, especially Black people. I think that's important. So I'm happy to be here. Dr. Smith, how you doing today?
I am doing good, Calais. It's nice to be here with you gentlemen, just to chat about a few things of obvious need, and I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Let's start with the basics. I just want to figure out, like, growing up, what made you fall in love with running? What made you want to run track?
Well, like growing up as a kid, running was what I did. I had to run away from my sisters all the time. So I got a good head start on the rest of the world by taking off around that wood pile trying to get away from them, because there were 7 of them to 5 of us boys. So not only that, but recess in school as a 4th, 5th, 6th grader, recess in school, of course, it's not the climax now by going outside and making yourself better. It's just, almost a waste of time now, because they don't do anything. So, well, what else can you do besides nothing when you don't have to do anything? And just moving around. I'm a country boy. Backwoods of Texas, I had more alligators as friends than I did human beings. So I had to do things to make things fun for me. And that's what it was, is staying out of the way of other folks, other animals, and looking back, because I was going to beat all of them, looking back and smiling and say, God, thank you for delivering me. These were my actions back in those days, Calais.
Oh, that's good to hear, man. I also grew up in a big family. I'm one of 8, and so 1 of 12. That's a big deal. That's pretty cool to experience that. So going back to when you were a kid, who were your role models? Who did you look up to? Growing up in Texas.
During those times, we didn't have a lot of reading because the teachers didn't teach the Black kids anything in terms of reading, in terms of going to the library. I don't even believe we had a library in the little remote school that I attended. But I looked at my dad all the time and wondered, how can he do what he does with the little education that he has? So I followed him religiously, everything he did, that single row plow, that double row plow, or driving that Conestoga wagon to church every Sunday, and just looking at him doing things. And he became a person that I looked up to, because he took care of all those kids, and he carried a Bible everywhere he went. So I grew up doing the same thing, wanting to be like my dad, having kids, having a wife, a very nice, powerful wife, going to church, learning how to read, because he didn't, and just taking life as it came. I loved being around people, but I loved even more by not saying anything while I was around people, and that could have been my biggest downfall. I learned, but I didn't put out. And now I'm very happy to speak to people and talk to people, especially kids, letting them know that they are big in life. You just have to know where to put yourself in that magnitude of greatness.
So when did you really decide that legacy was the mark you wanted to leave on the world? Like, when did you decide to become political? When did you decide to want to use your platform to create change?
Ever since I could think of what change was, and my thought process of dealing in a system that didn't represent me, but I did everything I possibly could to be a part of the system. But that part of the system you can't be if you have no way in. Even if you got into that table where the white folks were, you wouldn't serve the same food they were serving. So I began to wonder, what is the difference? And I just kept running, 8th grade, 9th grade, junior in high school. Then I went to college, and things just followed me. So I majored in a major which I could get out in public and do something, maybe, but I needed something to push me out. That's where athletics came in. I was All-American, a little All-American in high school in football, basketball, and track. But I could only choose one of those to go to college. So I chose track and field. Back in my day, Khalil, a freshman could not play varsity sports. So there was freshman basketball. So I played basketball my first sport in college. That's what I thought I was gonna do basketball. But I kept running into the inline wall because there was no space between the basket and the wall, you know. So I kept crashing into it. So one day I decided, no, wait, got to be something else. I'm tired of picking my brains up. So I decided to go out for track instead. And my first world record came as my second year in college. So that just kept me going. I heard applause, and I said, well, maybe I'm making somebody happy, you know, because I love to feel wind in my face.
So you went to college at San Jose State. It was a Speed City. You know, what made you choose to go to school there?
Well, I had another college in mind because everybody was going to that college. It was way down south, and it had a great 3 great letters for the name, and Disneyland was right near it, but it didn't feel like home. So I chose my second college, San Jose, because it was a smaller college. It was closer to Oakland, California, where I had a brother and a sister, brother and 2 sisters. And so when I needed a couple of dollars, you know, because scholarships back then wasn't very big, I would call them and say, send me a couple of dollars. Now, my brother George would send me 3 or 4. But my sister Lucille, if I said a couple, what was she saying? So I went to San Jose State because of the necessity to make it financially, to really make it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a family close as everything. You know, I had a brother come and play football at University of Miami with me, and that was special. You know, he's my younger brother, so I was the one that was kind of giving him all the advice and, you know, passing everything down. But that was a great choice, and I almost ended up going to University of Colorado State because my brother was going to school there that was older than me, so I could be close to family. But it was just too hard to turn down University of Miami at the time. Yes, but okay. So let me let's because this, I mean, obviously, you know, your story is so inspiring to so many, and so I'm just curious about. I want to know more about your relationship with Harry Edwards, and just I know you guys were contemplating maybe boycotting the Olympics. Correct. And that whole process. Can you give us some more insight on that?
Well, when I chose San Jose State, my final choice, the 2 people I met on campus. The first session was Harry then Dr. Edwards. Was Harry and my roommate Steve Kerr, who were there at basketball scholarship. And they looked at me, they laughed at me first, you know, because I had on jeans and white socks. You could tell they were white socks, but jeans were so short you could almost see my knees, you know. So they looked at me and laughed. And Harry said, you know, Harry stands 6'8" now, so I know you're 6'8" yourself.
Yes, yes, I am.
Yeah. He's about 240 then. You pushing 300 now. So you know how big he was. And he looked at me. He said, "Hey Smith, you country boys coming to the city. Next time I see you, you better have a handful of books." So I thought that's how I get my education, by carrying books. But I learned later that you have to read what you carry. So I started carrying books. And although sometimes I didn't do very good about reading them, but I did carry them, and I did graduate from that place. Going on, I got my master's at Cambridge. But it was Harry Edwards and S.T. Saffold. Harry was the more academic type. He would always involve himself in conversation dealing with society and how you move up in society, what you do, how free you can be if you could be. So he said we got to work to make sure that at least we know the direction. We might not be able to get there, but we're going in the right direction. So I took that as a pinnacle of thought, and I've been pushing hard ever since. Me and my roommate S.T. Saffold stuck together like 2 twin brothers, you know, going to church. Khalil, we went to church when we were at San Jose State and did things which I don't hear a lot about now. But it was a mental stage of going any place was San Jose State because it was so free of thought. I thought, but there were only a few black kids there, and they were athletes. There were maybe 15, 18 athletes and 3 girls, black girls. So we had it hard. But we made it. We did things and we stuck together. Then I got involved in the social attitude of togetherness and the racist tendencies that kept you down, kept the foot on your neck if you didn't fight the movement. A lot of things.
Yeah, you think about that time, you know, where, you know, in the 60s, a lot was going on, especially, with, especially leading up to the Olympics in '68. You had the war was getting ready to start with the Vietnam War. You had all the stuff throughout all the different countries. It was just a lot of, there was a lot of tensions being built. But in America, it was really racial tensions that were at the front of, everything in our, in our lives. And
Yeah.
so, when I think about, like, the choice of, you think about, Colin Kaepernick is a guy I have a lot of respect for, and, he made a decision to take a knee as a peaceful protest, during the national anthem, which was really, kind of following your footsteps, with raising the fist, at the Olympics. And, to me, I feel like that was, a huge move, because I think anybody who was knowledgeable understood that there was a lot of backlash, that he could potentially lose his job because of it, which, obviously, fast forward to where we are now, you kind of look and see that, he did lose his job. I played against him twice a year for multiple years. I know he could play in this league. So, it's kind of one of those things. I know in your story, you went to the Olympics, you decided you wanted to protest, and you pushed your fist up. Afterwards, did you understand, the backlash you would get? Did you understand, like, making that peaceful protest, what would happen afterwards?
Well, at age, I just had turned 24 years old. So I didn't have a great background on anything but going to class and getting my C's in those classes, which I should have done better, but I didn't know how to study because of the background. And I knew that I must have been pretty good, because not only did I win most of my races in the 98th percentile, but Harry, and I looked up to him highly, always initiated the attitude of, you must talk. You must have something to say. You go to track meets, people pat you on the back, they shake your hand, but is anything in that hand that they shake you with? And it never was anything that pushed me forward financially, because then it was AAU, you couldn't get paid. Track and field was a sport that you didn't get paid in. So I wanted to do something which might initiate some action for the young Black athlete. And he said, it's time for us to stand up and let people know our pride in what we do, our pride in our color, and our pride in moving forward, treating people like you want to be treated, and your education will come. You just have to wait. You just have to wait. If you put the time in your classes, you study, you go to practice as much as you can, and when you see somebody need help, do your best to help. And that's why I got the TY, the Tommie Youth Initiative. I help kids right now. I get a kick out of helping kids, man. They're fascinating to me. So with my simplicity in what I do, that's where the enjoyment comes. Seeing a smile on kids' faces, and I keep moving. Now, what's happening in the streets right now, that's a different situation in terms of the systemic racism that is so prevalent now. I'm fighting that through the younger generation, and I take a lot of pride in it. Criminal justice system needs revamping, and that's what we're working on right now. No balls are given up. I'm just reading a couple notes here. You know how we are sometimes. We got to have our notepads,
I got my notepad right here too. I think as athletes, you learn to be prepared. It's one thing, just to kind of, be able to wing it and show up and try to be great. But like the great athletes are the ones who are most prepared. So, I got my notes. I've been taking notes on this whole movement. I've been doing research for years, and I've been, I've kind of always considered myself as a person who can create change. I feel like I have the gifts to be able to unite people and to understand, that, it's bigger than me, and I understood that the legacy I want to leave behind is helping the world. And I feel like as an athlete, we get a platform that most people don't get, and we have a voice where we have to, speak for people who can't be heard. And so, when watching, doing some preparation for this interview, I was very impressed by your knowledge of just of self-evaluation of what you can bring to the table as far as just bringing awareness. I mean, what you did, obviously it's been 52 years later, And you know, and still today it resonates. You know, it's a important part of our history. You know, for in Black America, of you know, of making a big protest and sacrificing, you know, yourself for the greater good. I know, you know, in my preparation, I also know that you have a relationship with Peter Norman, so I want to know more about your relationship with him, because I feel like right now we're in a time where, you know, we have to have help from our counterparts, our white counterparts. You know, we have to have help from our, you know, I have a lot of friends who have been calling me and reaching out and asking me how they can make a difference, how can they add value, you know, and it's the first time in a long time I feel like we've really had that kind of, you know, persistence or consistency for help. So I guess, you know, my question to you is what was your relationship with Peter, and you know, and just in the movement right now, you know, how do you expect it go? How do you see it going forward with so many people that are white who are in powerful positions starting to speak up and stand out for racial injustice?
Well, I think white people need to be educated as much as anyone right now, because as you said a few moments ago, they asked me now, what can I do? You know, instead of they sympathize, they come in through a much stronger door by wanting to know what they can do. So feeling sorry for someone, but realizing that sorrow and trying to do something empathy is vitally important. So we're going to hear a lot now from white folks, what can I do? Which is, for me, not the same as when I was Peter Norman, and I had a great relationship because I pushed equality very hard. And I asked him, I said, Peter, what do you think about equality? He turned and looked at me in his certain accent. He said, what do you mean? No, you're equal to me. In fact, you're better than me because you can beat me in 200 meters. I knew what he meant. He was kidding, but he said the difference is not your color. The difference is your attitude about that color. There are those who tell me I don't see color, but I look at them and they're not blind. So I know something's wrong with this thing. You have to work this in spite of what you see. That's the beauty of different colors, is massing your brain together to make those colors match. We're going to be here. There's going to be black people. There's going to be red people. There's going to be yellow people, brown people. We're going to be here. We work through the recesses of the knowledge that we should already have, but we don't have that. God made it that way. Now it's up to us to follow his word and get on that platform of love and not differences. One thing that I did mention, Khalil, and I guess I should have earlier, the platform, the Mexico City platform, walking across the track en route to that platform, it was my life, because that's all I had to give. That platform wasn't tearing a flag down. That platform was building the flag up. That's the flag I ran all of my records under. The love of that flag went more than just standing up on the stand, turning toward it, praying for forgiveness of those who viewed that as a detriment, instead of thanking the people who honor the flag, because they're the ones who fought the hardest to make it, to be proud of that flag. Colin Kaepernick, basic same. He took a knee. I took a stand. Don't judge us for how it looked. Only let us reveal the only thing we have. Judge ye not, for ye shall be judged. That's biblical. And I'm going to fight for that biographical statement, because we are people. And we doesn't fight to be one. Unite. Oops, I don't have my Unite shirt on. Unite, or we're going to fall separately, and we're not going to stay around very long.
Yeah, that's very deep. You know, during the time when Kaepernick was kneeling, I chose to kneel one time to show my teammates that it was okay to kneel, and it was okay to stand up for what you believe in. You know, and I remember when Kaepernick first started protesting police brutality and you know, oppression, racial oppression. You know, he was sitting down on the bench, and then he had a conversation with a Green Beret who also was playing the NFL as a long snapper. And he told him that it was more respectful to take a knee, because when military when people died in the military, they took a knee in their honor. So it was very respectful to take a knee, and I thought that was very crucial in the conversation that what we weren't having. I mean, we were, the world wanted to have the conversation of it being disrespectful to the flag, but in all actuality, it was just calling to attention that there are issues in America that need to be addressed, need to be addressed, and those issues, are too important to so many people. I mean, as Black folks in America, we make up around 14% of Americans, and that's a big number. That's a number that, you got a lot of people who are living in poverty, a lot of people who, who are oppressed on a daily basis. I mean, still to this day, even being a successful person, in America, if I get pulled over by police, I'm nervous. I mean, I was taught, we had that conversation. My dad taught me at a young age, anytime you get, in an interaction with a police officer, make sure you comply, make sure make sure they know that you're not a threat, because they will take your life. I remember, when I first learned to drive, he said, roll down your windows, turn on the radio, and put your hands on the steering wheel, so that he doesn't see you as a threat. Because, as a Black man, generally speaking, we have a stigma of we're criminals or we're doing something wrong, and we need to change that stigma. And so, I mean, I really am just, I'm honored to be able to share a screen with you and communicate with you, because, while I do my research, you're the guy I'm studying. You're the guy who I look up to tell me, trying to show me the way on how I can make a difference. So I'm happy to be standing on your shoulders, and trying to, step up and make a difference in the world today. I mean, the NFL gives us a huge platform to be able to make a real difference in. And Kaepernick, did an incredible job, years ago, trying to take a stand and trying to make a difference in the world. And I actually, I feel like a lot of people, I feel like we're stronger in numbers, and I wish more people would have, did it together. That way, you couldn't, it had to be addressed properly if we all would have did it together. But at the end of the day, I'm really motivated going forward where we're at right now. I'm asking, do you have any advice for people like me who really want to make a difference in this world? What's the best way, or just give us some just general advice on how I can make a difference in this world?
Well, I think you're on a great path now, Khalil, to not be afraid to openly talk about it. I mean, on the other end, Commissioner Goodell has opened it up. It should have been done a long time ago, but he's opened it up for, you can communicate now. You can talk without afraid of losing your job, like Colin lost his job because he never said a word, bowed to his knee, and he was mutilated. That should not happen anymore. And the athletes who take a stand, understand this, athletes, for every action there is a reaction. So there's going to be something said about somebody, no matter what you do. So whatever you do, make sure your face is facing forward. It could be down, it could be up, but it's forward. And in your mind, in your heart, you're doing something that's going to help the population, not just you. The population is going to help. Continue your mainstay of love and protection of others. I know at 300 pounds, 6'8", physically, there's no problem. But it comes from the heart now, and it comes from verbiage, and you have to mean it. Take it to heart and do what you're supposed to do, because you are being watched, not only by the Heavenly Father, but you're being watched by the little kid behind that door who don't say very much. But if he hears you, he's going to step out and say, I want to be like him. I want to be like Khalil, not I want to be like Mike. This. So be you. I applaud you. Let me say this. Since my notes jumped out at me, I tried to hide them, but they just kept banging on my toes. See, don't be embarrassed by doing a little. It just may be as big as that big bit. Don't do a little bit. Don't just do a little bit, because it might be as big as that big bit. Meaning, in your conversations, don't be afraid to stand up what you say. You might split a verb, so what? Split that verb, that's two things you have instead of one. Communicate for any problem. You just may be the answer. You just so contribute to the conversation. Stand for something, or you will fall for anything. And don't be standoffish. Involve yourself, young folks, because you are me next. After Khalil, of course. We're coming, and you have a responsibility. Stand strong, or call me.
That's a great way to really end this. You know, I'll just add, you know, that you know, for me, you know, I feel like I've always kind of, you know, had plans to do something in the future. You know, I want to do something great, you know, as I continue to, you know, learn and research. And I feel like, you know, just given the circumstances in the community, you know, in the world right now, I feel
Amen.
like, you know, now is the time to do something. You know, I mean, you know, there's no reason to wait. You know, even if I don't have, you know, all the answers, if I'm not as prepared as I want to be, at the end of the day, you know, it's too much going on that needs help for me to just, you know, to continue to wait and try to learn. And I will continue to educate myself and be able to, you know, just better myself. But at the end of the day, you know, there are so many people in need right now. And you think about, you know, just, you know, the police reform, you know, and you think about, you know, education reform, you know, you think about reparations, you know, things that are important, you know, these conversations need to happen, you know, and obviously, you know, there's not a direct answer right now, but, you know, I mean, but there are some simple things that can be changed in the near future to create a better world for all people, you know, and I think that, you know, I mean, everybody goes on that, you know, that Black Lives Matter is like the new trend. And, you know, and then you get the rebuttal is all lives matter. Well, you know, I mean, essentially all lives do matter, but there have been some neglect into the Black community. And for all lives to matter, the Black lives have to matter. And so, you know, today, you know, and you know, every day going forward, you know, I'm gonna put on myself to do as much as I can to really make a difference for Black people in America and in turn all people in America. So. Thank you for inspiring me, Dr. Smith. I appreciate your time. I don't know, you know, I mean, to me, I feel like this is monumental. Just being able to be able to pick your brain and talk to you about these real issues. You know, I mean, I've never been more inspired than I am right now. So I hope to carry on your legacy the best way I know how to.
Thank you, Khalil. I wish you the best this year and this the pandemic strain on all of us, but we do what we can do to lift the pressure off of acknowledgments of a lot of people. Pleasure talking to you, son.